Long days and pleasant nights, fellow travelers across the path of the beam. That's for you. Hail the Stephen King guys, and I'm back today with another King related video. As you see, we got Creepshow back there, and today I'm going to film my updated King collection. Now, these books are in no particular order. They're just books that I obtained in the past like 3 months or so. So let's get started. Grab some popcorn. Here we go. The first book I'd like to talk about is like one of my recent grabs, and some of them are like on thrift books. And I caught this edition for only 10 books, and I know a lot of people don't like this book, but I obtained Sleeping Beauties. Now, I don't know much about this novel in particular, but what I heard about it is that there's like some mysterious plague that makes women fall asleep, and if they are awoken, they become rabid zombie creatures or something. But this is co-written by his son, Owen King, and I have no idea when I'll be able to get to this, but I'll get to it eventually. I mean, this is a huge book. Look at that. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a library binding copy, so it's still a nice, pristine looking edition. Alright, that is Sleeping Beauties. Next up. Next up, we have a book that I won in a giveaway by Anthony Smock. He is pretty, he's a pretty good member of the Hail to Stephen King group, and I won from a Buick 8. Now, I really don't know much about this book, but I heard that it's got tie-ins to like the Dark Tower, and it's got like a killer car on it. So I really don't know much about this book, and I heard that this one isn't all that good either, so I'll get to this one eventually. So that's from a Buick 8. All right. Next up, we have, I have quite a story to tell you all about this. This is his newest book, by the way, and my silly self decided to order it like 3 times, but, well, actually 2 times. I got my copy right here from Barnes & Noble, but anyway, since this coronavirus started, I decided to just like pre-order this online, and then I decided one day on a Thursday that I can like order it on barnesandnoble.com, but I ended up just going to Barnes & Noble to pick up If It Bleeds. Now, like I said, this is his newest book, and it's full of novellas. It's got Mr. Harrigan's Phone, Life of Chuck, The Title Story, and Rat. And I know If It Bleeds deals with Holly Gibney, and I haven't read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy yet. So once I read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy and The Outsider, I will definitely visit If It Bleeds, but I might read the other 3, but that's up in the air. So that's If It Bleeds. Alright, those are all my hard covers that I obtained, so I got more here. Alright. Next book. And like I said, these are in no particular order, but I got very lucky to obtain this because this is very, very hard to find. And I've looked on like Amazon, and you can like get a copy for like 150 books. And there is a story in here that's out of print, and because it's out of print, or because this particular story is out of print, is because of the mass school shootings that occurred in the past 20 years. So I'm talking about the Bachman books. Collected with Rage, and The Long Walk, Road Work, and The Running Man. So, in this particular collection, Rage is the opening story, and I know it's about a kid who takes his algebra class hostage and shoots them down one by one, including his teacher. And The Long Walk, you have this annual event where 100 boys like have to walk at 4 miles per hour, and if they stop, the moderators like shoot them dead. I have not read this one yet, but I cannot wait to read The Long Walk. And then you have Road Work, which I don't know much about Road Work, but I think it's about like this man who like takes revenge on like nasty developers who like want to destroy his block with like something. I really don't know much about Road Work, but anyway, the last story on here is The Running Man, and it's about a man who is on a game show trying to save his little girl from, I think it's like cancer or some kind of like weird disease. I don't know much about the Bachman books. I haven't read any of the Bachman books yet, but yeah, I was lucky to snag a copy of this for like $20.47 on Thrift Books. So that's the Bachman books. Next up, we have technically probably the first book that I should have talked about in this video, but like I said, this is in no particular order, but I got this probably about like a couple months ago, like before this coronavirus started, at Barnes & Noble, but I'd like to show off my copy of Just After Sunset. And this is a short story collection, and it's got, let's see, I believe this has 13 short stories in it, so I don't know much about this collection, but I know that one story deals with like 9/11, and I think it's called The Things They Left Behind, so this one sounds intriguing, and I might get to this pretty soon, but I'm pretty sure my next short story collection will most likely be Skeleton Crew, so that's Just After Sunset. Alright, moving on. The next book on this list is a very, very hated book, but I found a decent price for this particular edition, but this one deals with aliens. It's in the winter, and we get a journey back to Derry, and this is the very first novel that Stephen King wrote after his accident in 2001. And I'm pretty sure y'all know what it is, but here it is. Dreamcatcher. Now this is a gargantuan novel in this format. I like these mass market paperback novels, or mass market paperback editions. They're pretty small and compact and fluffy. But in this one, I know that it deals with like 4 friends who protect like an autistic boy, and they go back to their cabin in the woods, and they're hunted by aliens and the army, so they try to stay alive in the winter So, like I said, I don't know much about this, but I'm looking forward to getting into this one. I know it's a weird one, and I know that King was like loopy on drugs, so we'll get to this one eventually. I have not seen the movie adaptation of this, but I heard that one's like terrible, so anyway, that is Dreamcatcher. Next up. Alright. Next up, I know I don't have the pretty copies in hardcover, but these are two companion novels, and I don't know much about them, but here they are. The Regulators and Desperartion. In The Regulators, this is a Bachman book, and I don't know much about this one, but it sounds kind of messed up because you have just a random group of people that like start shooting down people, and I heard that this is a pretty gory book. In fact, I watched a video last night with Edward Lorne in it, and he talked about this book, and he said that this is one of his favorite, not necessarily Stephen King novels, but he said he was OCD, so he counted this as Bachman, so yeah, that's The Regulators. I don't know much about this one, but I heard that this one might be better than Desperation. So let's talk about Desperation. I do know a little bit more about Desperation, but anyway, that's The Regulators. And here's Desperation. Now, Desperation, I know, is a mining town in Nevada, and there's like some kind of like creatures who like inhabit the town. So this has like a sheriff, and I believe that he is the main character, and this deals with like religious undertones to it. So this one sounds like a pretty good book to read too, so I'll give this a try as well. That's Desperation. Alright guys, we're almost there. We got a couple more books to go. What? Alright. Now I know a lot of people love this series, and I do not have every book in the series, and I know nothing about this series, but I did see the 2017 adaptation, and if you don't know what series I'm talking about right now, I now have The Gunslinger, The Drawing of the Three, and The Wastelands. I just got this literally last night, and this starts the Dark Tower series, and I heard that there are some divisive novels in this series, so it's his magnum opus, so I can't wait to get to all three of them, and then later I hope to get the other 5, but yeah, that's the Dark Tower series as is, and I'm working on it slowly but surely. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Alright, we're down to the last 3 books, guys. Alright, the last 3 books are pretty, I want to say, like, not talked about very much, but you have the AT&T original series that I kind of like want to watch soon, but don't know when I will, and this is a detective trilogy, and we're talking about Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, and End of Watch. Yes, that is right, guys. I now have the Bill Hodges trilogy, and I also have The Outsider down there, so like I said when I mentioned If It Bleeds, I got to go through all 3 of these novels to get everything Bill Hodges. So, yeah, that's all the books in this updated Stephen King collection. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this video. So I watched It this morning, and I will watch It Chapter 2 tomorrow morning. So expect a dual review on both It movies. So cannot wait to film those and tell you what I think about them. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay scared and read Stephen King. Okay, now I sound like Jaime. Alright guys, see you Friday.